the manifestations of the big stuff are nice, but actually the small ones really make me feel, wow, alive and kicking, and it's like the strawberries with the chocolate on, and it's the room with the view, and it's
the constant, steady offering of what matches the vibration that you've got going on.
Yeah.
In other words, it's the consistency. Let's just flesh that out just a little bit. Rather than going for the occasional big thing, wouldn't you like the chronic good thing, the chronic comfortable thing?
Yeah.
And from our perspective, what we see you enjoying the most is conscious acknowledgement of your goodness and your power.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and what I really like about being on this boat, that I feel this big, strong force carrying me, taking care of me. And I think in all the small things, like seeing the blue sky, that it's the connection which really gives me this good feeling. I get out of it.
It's the way you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel supported by the energy that creates world, adored by the non-physical consciousness that is aware of you, and empowered by the opportunity to express it in the way that you want to here and now. In other words, it just doesn't get any better than this. You are leading-edge creators in the most sublime environment that has ever existed for those who are creators like you. And we're not just talking about this ship. We're talking about this planet and this time and this awareness and what you know.
Yeah.
Your conscious awareness of the law of attraction and your conscious awareness of your ability to focus. That puts you in the driver's seat. Not to create anything you want in terms of things, but to create any state of being that you want to create. And more important, to create any state of being that you want to create consistently, chronically, you see.
Yeah.
We want your life to not just be these moments, these weeks that you carved out that are extra good. We want your life to be day by day, conversation by conversation, thought by thought, experience by experience. We want you to never come down from this high of knowing who you are and feeling your worthiness and your power, you see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get so many ideas all at once when I'm...
Not all at once, but what they always are vibrationally... same.
Yeah.
In other words, once you strike a vibrational pose and you have established it for a little while, then thoughts that match it on a variety of topics will begin flowing to you. And then you can select from among them like you do from any food buffet. You're going to discover some of that here this week. There's going to be a lot to choose from, and a lot of it is going to be pleasing to you. And there's going to be more for you to choose from than you have the capacity to experience in any moment in time. You're going to have to be selective. We would encourage you to walk around a little bit. But haven't you noticed that if you just pick something that's pleasing, that more will come later and more will come later and more will come later?
Yeah.
So if you understand that it's a steady stream and that it's all coming just to surprise and delight you in the moment, and you let go of what you're feeling a little bit of, oh, I've got to make the best decision because the universe has queued this up, and what if I choose something that's slightly less good than something that I could have chosen? When Esther's at a table and someone chooses something better than she does, she just switches plates with them.
It's a good idea. Oh,
she has very nice friends.
And I am drawn to drawing, and I was thinking about if you have this clean sheet and if you want to create.
It's not that clean. There's a lot of and by that we mean it's not a blank sheet. That's the most important thing to understand. It's not a blank sheet that you're filling in. It has a lot of vibrational properties to it. And you don't have a lot of latitude about because you've already established the grid, and what's filling in is going to be in the vibrational vicinity. So just make your best choice from what's coming, or take a nap.
Okay. Yeah.
Or meditate.
Yeah.
Or if you can, make a list of positive aspects.
Yes, very good. I keep seeing Jerry on the ship everywhere, and he feels like this concierge in the sky. And
Alaska is his favorite cruise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And sometimes you feel the connection so strong that that with any inspiration or idea, what is me or what is Jerry or Abraham or others?
Well, that's what we were talking about. Let's back up just a little bit and make sure that you understand this completely, because we talk about who you are before you were born, but that part of you still exists. And when you make your reemergence into non-physical, you just join that again. But as you've been here in this physical experience, everything that you've begun, everything that beginning isn't even the right word, everything that you've carried on with, everything that you've contributed to here in this physical form, you still are that when you reemerge into non-physical. And your interest in all of that is still very keen. So when you have the opportunity to, and you do constantly, to give your attention to anything that has anything to do with anything that you are interested about, there is no separation. In other words, consciousness has no limitation, you see. So when you have reemerged in non-physical and you are still interested in what's going on, those people who are interested in what you are interested in, there's still this collaboration that is going on. Esther's getting letters from people all over the planet who are having those significant moments with Jerry, where they are knowing for sure. A lot of people are waking up at 111, 222, 333, 444, 555. There have been a few letters that say, hey, Jerry, give it a rest, because they associate that with him because he liked that so much. But there is no separation between what is physical and non-physical. Death is a misunderstanding that humans have concocted because, oh, you're really going to like this, because most humans are not very good at translating subtle vibration. Manifestations are more specific. Would you agree? When something manifests, when someone walks in the room, whether you like them or not, whether you invited them or not, whether you wanted them to be there or not, when they walk into the room, you're probably going to observe them because you have the ability to observe through your physical senses. Your physical senses, let's put it this way, your physical senses, for the most part, are being used by most of you to interpret things that are not that subtle. Your emotional sensors are the way that you interpret those things that are more subtle. Esther, as she began meditating all those years ago, discovered, without knowing what was happening, that she could tune herself to the frequency of that which is us, simply by tuning herself away from any frequency that was distracting. And as she did it so consistently, and Jerry too, the two of them were a powerful point of attraction, there was then the ability to interpret this more subtle vibration. In other words, we're available to everyone, but everyone is not in the frequency where they can begin to receive us. You're getting the sense of what we're talking about? So Esther was delighted to discover that because she had been already interpreting the vibration of Abraham all of those years, it was not a difficult thing for her to receive Jerry in the same way. But she could not be in the mode of missing him and getting him at the same time. In other words, if she's missing him, she doesn't have access to him because it's the absence of him that is in her vibration, you see. So he sneaks up on her in her happiest of moments. He'll sneak up on all of you if you will allow him in your happiest of moments, you see, in your most insightful moments. Because make no mistake about it, he is still infinitely interested in the evolution of this message here in this time-space reality. He's right there with every new thought, you see. And enjoying plenty of the old ones, too.
Yeah. My daughter, she's now 13 years old and used to be able to listen to croaked people all the time. She was never alone. She always had conversations when she was doing her drawing or something. They were always talking to her. And only recently, I think a half year ago, it stopped. And now she feels very alone.
Well, here's the thing. Just remind her that, because you said the key words, it was when she was drawing, she was doing something creative, she was in that relaxed state, she was in the allowing state, and in her allowing state, she was allowing it. It's likely that someone has called her attention to it and she's made herself uncomfortable about it for some reason, and she's blocking it for some reason, but it can come back anytime. It's just a matter of understanding. You must understand that there is no separation, that this is a vibrational universe. And once you understand that, and then you begin training yourself to the more subtle vibrations, you have access to all of that wonderful non-physical energy. There are people who get into a state, and because their vibrational point of attraction, their grid is such, they receive ornery conversations because every thought that has ever been thought still exists. And it may be that, you see, here's what it is. We'll explain it to you, and you can explain it more fully to her. Once you learn a language, you could go to a bookstore or a library and pick up any book and read it. But just because you have the ability to read the words and understand what their meaning is, does not mean that you are necessarily a vibrational match to the book that you are reading. It could be a really discouraging, disturbing book, or it could be a really uplifting, inspiring book. But just because you have the ability to read it doesn't mean that you're going to like it when you read it. So when you begin to translate vibration subtly, you can translate the vibration of something that feels good to you, or you can translate the vibration of something that doesn't. In other words, your point of attraction will bring you what is matching you. So it is likely that in one of her not so good feeling moments, she was translating something not as pleasing, and it may have been off-putting enough to her that she made another conscious decision about it. And it's a little bit, this is going to be a sort of subtle analogy, but you will hear it clearly. And a lot of you will hear it too, because it's on a subject that is important to you. Sometimes a person will want a relationship. They will have a very strong desire for a relationship. And through their life experience, they've been putting a lot of details into their vortex. In other words, they know how they want this person to be, how they want this person to feel, how they want this person to look, how they want this person to be living their life. They've lived enough life that they have been very specific about what they are wanting. But they're not yet a vibrational match to what they want. And so relationships aren't coming, and they're wondering, why is the universe not just bringing me someone? And we say, because you've been very specific about the someone that you want. And because that's a very strong intention, the universe is just not going to deliver to you something less than what you want. So that's what's going on.
Okay.
Different subject, but that's what's going on. She has very high standards about what she wants, you see. And she's not going to, the universe is not going to deliver to her something that's less than what she wants, even though she has not lost her ability to translate. That was really good and significant to many of you. Yes, really good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.